Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Reef Heyman, and I am your host of the WWP. But the WWP cannot have just one host. No, 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 no. The World Wrestling Podcast needs two hosts. So I welcome to the podcast. I stuttered. I'm not Paul Heyman. The man, the Sith, the legend, Darth Cyro. Welcome, Darth Cyro.
That was arguably better.
I'm not Paul. I'm his protege.
Was arguably better than Paul would do on his worst day. So I'll give you that because that was fantastic. Welcome to the WWP episode 11 Survivor Series War Games predictions go home show for us. Reef, that was fantastic. I loved that intro. Thank you so much for the glory. Thank you for the glory. How are you doing besides being in the seat of Mr. Paul Heyman, the wise man? I like that you wise man of the podcast. That's you. I like that.
Yeah, I'm not so wise, but I can be pretty good on the mic. I did stutter there. I'll get better, Paul. I promise you I'll get better. I appreciate you for listening. Man, I feel fantastic, dude. We've been loaded with good content this week, and obviously we have the upcoming Survivor Series. So I just cannot wait to get into all of the things coming, all things Survivor Series today. Cyro, kick us off, man. What do you want to start with?
So without further ado, let's go right to it. You started it off with the wise man himself. Let's ask point blank right now to you. Let's kick it off with, he brought back CM Punk as the fifth member of the OG Bloodlines team. And by the way, that doesn't even include the fact that we saw him for the first time in months. And he was wearing Ferrari red. He had the handkerchief. He had the shirt. He looked like he was on vacation for at least a month, hopefully in recovery from the absolutely devastating destruction that the Bloodline 2.0 put him through. He looked fantastic. He came back. He brought CM Punk back, and he put him on Roman Reigns' side. The question to you is, can Paul Heyman, in all his power, really bring Punk and Reigns together in this pseudo partnership or team up? Or has Paul Heyman maybe just thrown a curveball into the OG bloodline that's going to add even more dysfunction than might already be or that we might have already seen? Talk to me.
First of all, I do want to comment on the appearance. Paul Heyman, you look fantastic, brother. You look like you spent the last few months sitting on a beach in Miami. He was really in his Miami Vice look.
Yeah, he
looked like a Colombian dealer, dude. Let me talk about it. Mm-hmm. So he looks awesome. Bringing CM Punk out, huge pop. That was an incredible moment, right? I worry because there is a bit of that history between CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Now, it's not as bad as if Seth Rollins joined the OG bloodline. Then that would be a serious problem. Yeah. I don't think their beef is as deep. I do recall, and I believe it was in 2013 when CM Punk actually hired Roman Reigns and the rest of the Shield, including Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, to help him maintain his championship. I believe it was against Ryback and John Cena at the time in a triple threat. And they didn't help them. So yes, there is something there where they had some kind of collusion together, but then also, if you recall, it actually led to a triple threat a handicap between CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose, where the Shield against CM Punk, and miraculously, I believe CM Punk won that one. He came out standing, which was insanity.
Your memory is absolutely unbelievable, guys. If you are not old enough, or if you aren't watching it for that, he's talking about a handicap match from 2013, 11
2013.
years
That's
ago.
correct. Yeah.
Nice
So
memory.
it was, yeah, and so that's as far back as I can. I can stem the relationship, and then ever since that handicap match, I don't think CM Punk and Roman have ever hashed out their differences, right? So I worry there is gonna be this. It's not going to smooth
Yeah.
over. Don't think CM Punk has a massive problem with the Bloodline 2.0, other than the fact that they put his favorite man, he's a Paul Heyman guy, and they put Paul Heyman through a table. That's probably enough to set him over the edge. But other than that, I don't know if he has the same animosity towards them that the rest of the OG Bloodline do. So I think that we're just still in that gray area of where I don't know if we can fully trust this OG Bloodline to take out a very cohesive Bloodline 2.0 unit. Paul Heyman is a miracle worker, though. Can hold out faith.
So is Punk the fire that we think he is, or are we okay? Or is he? Are we? Do we have some pseudo partnership right now? I'm not going to say friendship. I'm not that dumb. Are we okay though, or is this going to lead to something really bad?
You know, there's an ego on Roman, dude, and we know CM Punk is a top guy. When you bring a top guy in with a guy with an ego like Roman, he's gonna want to be the guy that puts the nail in the coffin. And if CM Punk is the one that hits the go to sleep, he's gonna want to be the one to pin or something. I just feel like we're going to see the egos collide at some point, and if that happens, and I believe it's going to happen, we are going to have problems, and I think Bloodline 2.0 is cohesive enough to take advantage of that. They're all on the same page. We're not sure about OG Bloodline. Because remember, it's not just about CM Punk and Roman Reigns. We also have Sami Zayn, Jimmy Uso, and Jey Uso, who all three don't seem to be on the same page for the most part.
I see Sami and Jey. Sami and Jey are doing okay.
I mean, those guys are brothers now, but Jimmy's still hesitant to go back into Sammy's arms. And remember, Jimmy and Sammy were the closer ones at one point. So there's just so much history there that it's hard to tell where they are in the relationship. And it just doesn't feel like they're at that point where they can beat down a unit like the Bloodline 2.0. So I worry. I think there's still a lot of dysfunction there. I don't think that this works out the way that we all as fans would hope it works out. But that is for them to decide. Now, there is a possibility here, and I don't know if this happens or not, but now we have two guys involved in this Bloodline match that have a same shared enemy, I can say.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see. I'm going to ask you, do you think the visionary Seth freaking Rollins takes a backseat and sits on the sidelines during this whole thing? Or does he get involved in this Bloodline affair, the Bloodline battle at Survivor Series? He has an enemy on both sides. He has CM Punk with the OG Bloodline, and then he has Bronson Reed with Bloodline 2.0. Do you think he just sits back and lets them all do their thing? And also, obviously, Roman Reigns. He has more enemies on the OG Bloodline, come to think of it.
I was thinking about whether or not I was going to have to talk about Seth Rollins during our regular predictions segment a little bit later in the show, or if I was going to have to weave this in now. And I'm really glad that you asked this to me, because I would like to keep my predictions to be point on point for the match itself. So I'll probably come back to this. But to answer your question, I actually think Seth Rollins does get involved. Do I think he should? I honestly, should's a hard word to say. I'll say he does.
Against your advice, he would do this against your advice.
I don't know if should is the right word, because I'm not in a position to tell Seth Rollins, the visionary, what to do.
You're the man, the Sith, the legend.
Well, then I would tell Seth Rollins that he should probably stay the hell out of it, because here's what I think is going to happen. Here's what I think is going to happen. If he comes in and involves himself in the bloodline battle at Survivor Series, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to his keister. He's going to interfere. Something's going to happen where it is the interference is going to be mistaken, or it's going to go the wrong way, and he's going to cost the OG bloodline the match because he's trying to take out Mr. Reed. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. If that happens, the person who's going to be pinned would be Punk. And you're going to see potentially a CM Punk, because if he goes after it, I think he's going to try to go after Reed. But the way that it plays out with CM Punk and the history, I'm seeing CM Punk as taking offense to anything that happens. And I'll predict that something's going to happen where Rollins is going to screw up, or something's going to screw his interference up, and he's going to cost the OG bloodline the match. And then what will happen is Punk will be the one who will be pinned in the War Games match. And what will end up as I guess maybe the finalist, I'm not sure, because that's a fatal 5-way, technically, right? Or 5-on-5. It's a fatal 5-on-5 match. It's not a one pin, correct? It's an elimination, right? We eliminate the members because it could be 1-on-5 at the end. It's not first pin wins.
Right. It's elimination style. So of course.
So keep that in mind, that you are going to potentially have one person on the remaining at one point, and it could be 2, 3, or 4, or 5 remaining on the other side. I'm seeing, and I'll get more into it later, but I'm seeing Seth Rollins' interference happening at Bloodline Battle at Survivor Series War Games, and I'm seeing it hurt the OG Bloodline side, and I'm seeing it hurt CM Punk specifically. That's how I'm seeing from where I'm at. I don't know what's going to happen. Let me know what you think. I'm going to ask you the same question because I want to know your opinion. Should he get involved? And then does he get involved? I want 2 answers.
So I think, yes, he should. He's got enough. Of course he should get involved. He's a guy, he's trying to push for himself to be in the main event, and this is how you do it. So yes, I do believe for his career, he should get involved, make his presence undeniable, as he always does. And will he? I believe he does. And I'm going to get more into that later in the show. But I do have one question before we bounce to this next subject for you, as it pertains to who takes the advantage. We have Jacob Fatu against Jey Uso this Friday night before Survivor Series for who has the advantage. Does Jey Uso take down the Samoan werewolf?
I don't think that Jey Uso, no offense to Jey, like yeet all day, love Jey, he's going to get crushed by Fatu, man. My
answer, as always, will be yeet.
I think he's going to get fucking creamed by Jacob Fatu this Friday. Tune in 2 days from now, Friday Night SmackDown. Watch Jacob Fatu go one-on-one with Jey Uso for the Bloodline Battle advantage.
Jey go wolf walk his ass. You know what I mean?
I would love to see it. Yeah, I like that wolf walk. I like the reference to those who have watched recently and also heard your take on the dog walk. That was nice. All right. Let's shift gears just a little bit. Okay, moving ahead to the World Heavyweight Championship.
The Ring General.
The Ring General was generaled through the fucking table this past Monday by Damian Priest. And on top of that, after he hit him with the razor's edge, boom! Gunther goes crashing through the table, an emphatic crash. And Damian walks up and grabs the title he once adorned on his shoulder and lifted that son of a bitch in the air and as high as the sky. And he made it feel for a split second. I almost had a flashback, little deja vu moment where I felt Damian Priest, the World Heavyweight Champion. Holy shit. And so the question to you is, can and will Gunther regain his composure? And please don't take offense to this. I know he's your boy. I just have to ask it. Ahead of his title match versus the Archer of Infamy, the King of the Streets, Damian Priest.
So can he? Is obviously, of course he can. Will he? And as far as me taking offense to this, I can't take offense to it because you guys are right. He is clearly rattled. And again, I still hold on to the faith that he's faking it to give Damian Priest the hubris to get him a little off his game. I'm holding on to the hope. But boy, is he making it very convincing that he's lost all composure since losing to Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel, which that could very well be the case. Will he regain said composure at War Games at Survivor Series against Damian Priest? Boy, I hope so. I think he does. I hope he does. I pray he does. Because the WWE as well as the WWP needs their general at the top of his game. Because he is the man. He is the face, and he's the greatest world heavyweight champion of all time. I stand by him through thick and thin. He is going to beat down the king of the streets and show him that nobody can step to the ring general.
I respect that. I can respect that. I'm going to agree with you. He does regain his composure. As I have told you before, though, I do believe, unfortunately, he's dropping the title. And we'll talk about it when we get to the predictions. But I do believe that he is going to gain his composure. I'll leave that there.
I am in the full belief that next week we will be talking about the reigning champ, Gunther, the Ein General, as he walks out of Survivor Series, still your world heavyweight champion. Now, as far as losing composure, we lost all composure on Monday Night Raw. There was a heated battle between Braun Breaker and Ludwig Kaiser for the Intercontinental Championship, in which Sheamus returned the favor, where Ludwig originally interfered in Sheamus's match for the IC title. Now Sheamus interferes with Ludwig's, and neither of them can come out victorious. Now we have ourselves a huge brawl, the ramp up towards Gorilla, and we have a massive outcome here where now Survivor Series threat match for the between Ludwig Kaiser, Braun Breaker, and your boy Sheamus, whom I know you really, really want to see him finally achieve his dream. So my question to you is, does Sheamus finally achieve his Grand Slam dreams at Survivor Series?
Answer, yes.
Whoa.
But we will talk more about why and how that's going to play out as time goes on. I think what the biggest thing to take away from this before War Games is that Ludwig Kaiser is listening to and answering the call that his ring general made for him to be his own man. And he went and he tried to fight Braun Breaker. And I'll be honest with you, I saw a different Kaiser out there before Sheamus came.
He impressed. He definitely impressed.
Yeah. So I don't want this to go unnoticed. Kaiser's performance before Sheamus came flying down the ramp and blasting him at ringside was pretty freaking nice to see. And I wish that no matter what happens at War Games, and we'll get to the predictions later on, but after Sheamus wins and becomes the Intercontinental Champion, I do believe that you're going to see Kaiser versus Sheamus. I think that's where the money may be. I'm not going to sleep on Ludwig Kaiser whatsoever. How say you about Sheamus?
Hey, look, man, whatever happens, I don't know if he does. It's very difficult here. There's three men here who are all very relentless in their pursuit for this title. Obviously, Braun is already keeping it, but it's very difficult for me to see a world where Sheamus wins this one at this moment, at this stage in his career. Okay. I don't want to count him out. He's been incredible, nothing short of incredible for these last month and a half, 2 months, right? He's been awesome. But Ludwig Kaiser's on this mission right now. And Braun Breaker is, I know I'm back and forth on him a lot, but if we're just talking raw talent, he is one of the most talented and freakish athletes in all of the WWE. It is so hard to put that man down. We've seen it done. It's not impossible, but it's so difficult. And to have both him and Kaiser in the ring at the same time, Sheamus, you got to watch your back, brother. You are one of those guys that's on the back end of his career, and these two guys are hungry to make a name for themselves. I don't see it ending well for Sheamus here.
Sometimes it takes the master to tell the student how to conduct themselves. And I think in the at War Games, Sheamus is going to have to be the master. And if he's not, he won't win. So, switching gears once again to the viciousness that we saw on SmackDown. I'm watching Bianca Belair and Chelsea Green and Blair Davenport have a match, and it was going well for the U.S. title, women's U.S. title tournament. Which, by the way, let's make sure we save time to talk about the new Women's United States Championship and the new Women's Intercontinental titles. Please, let's make sure we cover that. As you know, I'm a big title guy. Let's make sure we cover that. But I was watching that match, and I saw what the EST saw. Jade Cargill, somewhere in the backstage area, on top of a car, looking like she just got blasted ragdoll style in a game of Call of Duty Zombies. And she's just out, sprawled around across the car, completely gone, unconscious. What, bleeding? Her eye was bloody. It was a horrible, horrible scene for us to see for essentially the storm in Jade Cargill. And so my question to you is very simple. Harkens me back to the old Who Ran Over Austin days. Who's responsible for that vicious attack on Jade?
I have to say, in the spirit of the way you pose this question, it might just be Rikishi. But no, in all seriousness, before I even answer the question, here at the WWP, we all wish Jade Cargill a speedy recovery and cannot wait to see her back in action. I have somewhat of a hot take prediction here. I've thought a lot about this on who it could be. There's one person in particular that I think had the most to gain from Jade Cargill being taken out of the picture before Survivor Series. One person who has lost opportunity after opportunity in these recent weeks and months for her women's title. One person who gains the most.
I know who you're going to say.
And that person is the one person who I think is now going to be the 5th member of the War Games team. It's going to be Bayley.
I knew you were going to say Bayley.
I know it because Bayley she can see herself spiraling out of the scene. She's no longer going to be the #1 contender. She's not even in War Games. And the one way that she found her way in was we take out Jade Cargill and we pretend to be Bianca's friend now. Although there's beef stemming from 2022, we're going to go there and show face and help Bianca and pretend to be the good girl and the hero. But in reality, it was her that set this problem up in the first place. And it was her that comes in to seemingly save the day. It all feels a little too coincidental. Bayley, we're watching you. I know you got something up your sleeve, and I think she did it.
Wow. You know, for those who may not have seen all of Raw, Bayley helped Belair defeat Jax in the War Games Advantage match. So the Raw right after the SmackDown where we saw Jade on the car, Bayley shows up to help Bianca. Bianca's startled, doesn't understand why Bayley's helping her, but is, coming into it just as we are. And you know what, Reef? I'll be honest with you, that's a good take. I wouldn't call it hot. That's a good take. I agree with you. Bayley is the one.
Because it's a little against Bayley's personality, but I know we all have a little evil inside of us. You push us to our limits, we can all do that. And mind you, every time Bayley shows up with Naomi and Naomi's teams with Bianca and Jade always give her a hard time. I think Bayley saw this as an opportunity to sneak her way in so that way the girls can kind of let their guards down a little bit here. And then she can come in and swoop in for the kill. And it seems to be working exactly as planned. She will, it's not official yet, but she will be the 5th member in Survivor Series and keep her name relevant for at least the next few weeks.
I can't disagree. I cannot disagree with that.
Now, as far as We have some tensions going, obviously, with the women's division, but we saw our favorite group. We're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of the New Day. And things are not looking so good for the New Day.
No,
They had a match, a tag team match against Alpha Academy, a team that I said is one of the weaker teams in the division, by the way. Tozawa holds back Otis a lot, seemingly. They said that they were going to squash the beef prior to the match. They get to the match. Kofi's set to start the match. Xavier Woods doesn't like that. He's trying to call the play, and the play is Xavier Woods starts. Kofi's in the ring. Xavier steps out, tags himself immediately. They argue, and they both end up on the ground. Otis does his worm. Tozawa hits his splash, and everyone goes crazy, and Alpha Academy wins. And one of the quickest wins we've seen in recent weeks from any match.
Yeah.
A lot of tensions backstage, a lot of insults thrown.
Yep.
Kofi says Xavier Woods just not good enough to be a singles guy and to be a champion. Xavier reminds Kofi that he pissed away his championship that they gave him within 6 seconds to Brock Lesnar. A lot of animosity going on. Frustrations are boiling over. My question to you is this officially the end of the New Day? Do they not make it to 10 years? Do they break up at the reunion, and we can officially say that they made it 9 years and 364 days, maybe?
I was expecting the trombone, Big E, Booty O's. I was expecting everything to be pulled. No stops pulled for that 10-year anniversary, which happens next week on Raw. And I'm really sad, man. I'm really sad. We should take a moment and remember how lovely the New Day were, because I think I told you earlier in our WWP, one of our WWP eps, I told you that I think they don't make it to year end. Sadly, I'm afraid that they're going to break up on the anniversary. They're going to make it exactly 10 years, and then they're going to break up. It's going to be to the day. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. I'm not sure if that's kind of...
It hurts. I know.
Am I more sad for the New Day?
It's hard to talk about.
Right? Like, am I more sad for the New Day breaking, or am I more excited to see what these two guys could do when they're not just with each other, and potentially when they had a little bit more, let's say when they got stronger punching arms now, with their attitudes have changed a little bit. You've seen a little bit of, aggression that we haven't seen from both of them. One thing I did want to touch on before we say, so the answer is yes. Unfortunately, I believe it is officially or unofficially the end of the New Day, and it will become official, I think, on Monday.
I agree.
I'd like your take. Okay, perfect. One thing I will say.
My take is nice and quick. I agree.
Yeah, that was the easy one. That's the easy one. One thing that I heard them say to each other that I really didn't like, and thank you for recapping that so well, is that Kofi was never willing to take the risk that Xavier was, and Xavier telling him that to his face, that basically you're a stagnant guy who without me, you wouldn't even be champion. I mean, he said that. That is unbelievable. Like,
it's tough, true in the slightest way. Like, I don't want to take anything away from Kofi, but it's a little true. It's a little true. Kofi was never anywhere near the WWE title prior to New Day. You know?
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. It hurts to hear, but it's got a little truth in it. And I think that's why it hurts so much to hear. And it was not presented in a loving brother way. It was presented in a fuck you kind of way, which is what hurts even more. I think that's where the problem is really at. It's because it was presented as a fuck you to him instead of I care about you. I just need you to acknowledge the truth.
Yeah. That's what gets me is that it's worse that it's him saying it's because he was. It hurts me more that Xavier's Kofi that without me you wouldn't be champion, and it doesn't mean that without me interfering and making you get a win, you wouldn't be champion. No. He's saying without me in your life, you wouldn't be capable of being champion.
Yeah,
That hurts
and
me.
it does hurt because I think he was capable. But we'll see how all of this goes down. Obviously, we're gonna see them talking most likely next Raw after Survivor Series. So we'll see how all this goes down at the reunion. But speaking of champions, I know you love title talk. So right now we're gonna have ourselves a little moment to talk titles. There are 2 new titles introduced to the WWE. SmackDown first introduced the Women's US title, and Adam Pearce on Raw introduced the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Tell me what you think about those title designs. I know you're a title guy. I can't wait to hear what you got to say.
Thank you for saving time for this. I really appreciate that. The answer is the response here is real simple. Those titles. Let's talk about their existence first. Period. The fact that they exist now. I'm really happy that we've got
long overdue.
The workhorse title in the Intercontinental Championship for women. And now we have the United States champion, the one that it's also a workhorse, an open challenge style championship, one where you have to kick ass all the time in order to keep it and represent the United States. And I like that the women have that to vie for as well. But to take us to the actual title designs, the idea of what's happening where we've got the women adorning white leather straps on those titles, where the men have the same title, but essentially likely a little bit bigger, but most importantly with that black leather strap. I'll be honest with you, I love the design. I don't know who WWE is collaborating with on this, but I love the title design of the fact that the men and the women's differences are nothing more than potentially a little size and the black or white strap. I love that. That makes it very clear as a fan, as a viewer, as someone who wants to see the women and the men have the best matches against the best of each other and then come on top and hoist that title to the sky. I love to see the harmony in that design across the board. So I'll say for the title lovers out there, these are all available on WWEshop.com. They just dropped the Intercontinental Women's Championship on WWE Shop replica. If you want to go grab that, go grab it. It's a fantastic looking title. I love the white straps. WWE, by the way, you do owe me a royalty check for all the affiliate traffic I'm giving you. So thank you for the time to talk about that, Reeve. Would you like to opine on that, or should we transition to the
only thing I'm gonna say is as far as the white strap goes is I can only pray and hope that Rhea Ripley wins her title back from Liv and changes the strap to purple. I would love to see that. I want to see it. I think all the alt rock and punk kids out there are with me. They want to see a purple championship. So that's all I got for that one. I'm not a big title guy. So as far as title design goes, at least. So that's for everyone else to argue and decide from there.
Okay.
And now our final segment, the one that we've all been waiting for. Today we're going to give in and submit our official predictions for Survivor Series match card. Most of this is going to be rapid fire because we've talked about a lot of these matches already, but I will give you a space to talk about any match you want to talk a little bit more about. But we're going to start with the return of Shinsuke Nakamura. He faces LA Knight for the US Championship. Who do you have in that match?
I got Nakamura.
Yeah, no way. LA Knight. So we're a split on that one. LA Knight is pissed and he's ready to go. Nakamura's taking his cheap shots all day long. He knows he can't beat him one-on-one. LA Knight is going to take him the hell out.
I get it. I wouldn't be disappointed, but I say Naka.
All right, going next. And again, this is in no order. We don't know what the match card is exactly how it's going to be. I don't think it's official yet exactly the order it's going to be in. So we're just kind of going down the list. Braun Breaker, Sheamus, Ludwig Kaiser, triple threat, Intercontinental Championship on the line. Who wins?
I believe that, as I told you earlier, Sheamus is going to show his masterful nature, his expertise, the idea that experience defeats aggression. So I think Sheamus comes out on top with a great Kaiser showing that you've not seen before.
So Breaker loses the title again. That's interesting.
I think he loses it again. I think Breaker's gonna win. I think we're gonna get Breaker title runs. I think it's gonna happen. He's strong. He's gonna keep bouncing back.
Okay, so for me now, I'm gonna go with a little two-part prediction that's gonna go right into the next match that I have listed here as well, which is gonna be Gunther versus Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. So I'm gonna rattle off my prediction for the first match and second, and then you'll follow up with the second match prediction.
I got you.
So Braun Breaker versus Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. I believe Ludwig Kaiser comes out on top and becomes the Intercontinental Champion for Imperium. And then we see Gunther, as shooken as he is, I'm starting to really think that it's real. And if it is real, I see Damian Priest winning that World Heavyweight Championship right off of Gunther. And the tables are now turned. Kaiser is the one that holds all of the prestige in Imperium. And Gunther is the one that looks lost and doesn't know what to do. What do you think?
I'm as rattled as Gunther would be if he lost the title and Kaiser won. That is an unbelievable set of predictions. I appreciate you sharing that. Wow. And it would be quite the look that Kaiser would give Gunther if he said, you're on your way down and I'm on my way up.
Tables are turning.
Interesting. So I will go ahead and say Damian's going to win. I believe, as I've told you before, that will happen as a result of an interference from Goldberg at War Games, costing Gunther the title, and Damian walks away with the title. And then I'm not really sure what happens from there, but that's where I'm going with that. What's the next match you got for us?
The next match is the War Games match between Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae versus Rhea Bloody Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and allegedly Bayley. Who do you got?
Gosh, this is so freaking tough because I want to say the Team Rhea, but I'm going to say, even though I'd like Team Rhea to win, I think Team Liv wins. There are two champions, world champions, not the IC or US title holders, not the women's US and Intercontinental title holders.
No one's a U.S. title holder yet, or Intercontinental title holder yet.
I know, but I'm saying we're not talking about the let's just call them slightly inferior titles. We're talking about the top titles. We have both of them on the same team. So you want me to believe that this other team is somehow able to defeat both champions? I think if they do that, if Team Rhea wins, which I don't believe will happen, then whomever is the best two women from that team need to immediately go after Liv and Nia. Obviously Rhea's already called her shot, so Rhea's going after Liv no matter what. I don't know who's going to go after Nia, but man, that's all I see happening.
So counterpoint here. Yes, they have the two current champions, but the other side has multiple, almost everyone on that team has won the title and been that top title holder.
Sure.
Ripley, Bianca Belair, Io Sky, Bayley, they've all been. Has Naomi ever been a WWE Women's Champion? I don't recall.
I don't think so, man.
I don't think so. But Naomi, great wrestler always. But 4 of the 5 then would have been former champions. I think you just have way too much talent there. And Rhea Bloody Ripley is on a rampage right now. I don't see anyone stopping her.
You see her new face mask? You see that face
mask? I love the face mask. It's like LeBron. It was like the
LeBron
LeBron face mask from the playoffs. I love it.
Sure. She looks like a hawk or like a crow or something. Like she looks.
She's top 2 and not number 2, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Moving on to the men's War Games match, OG Bloodline plus CM Punk versus Bloodline 2.0. And I'm not going to say plus Bronson Reed. I'm just going to go ahead and include him. He's part of the crew. He is Bloodline 2.0. Who do you got?
I got Bloodline 2.0 winning on an interference from Seth Rollins that goes wrong and causes CM Punk to be pinned.
Okay. I have slightly different prediction here. You ready for it?
Where CM Punk is the last guy left.
You ready for you ready for this one? You ready for this bombshell I'm going to drop on you?
I can't wait.
The initial interference is not by the visionary, the revolutionary Seth freaking Rollins. No.
Okay.
The real interference is by the final boss.
Oh my God.
And he comes out, and who hates The Rock just as much as anybody else? Seth freaking Rollins. We have The Rock joining Bloodline 2.0 to cut the bullshit. We're done with this CM Punk and Roman Reigns teaming up with Cody Rhodes and all this other nonsense. We're done with that bullshit. He's gonna cut out, snuff that out, and Seth Rollins comes in to save the day, and OG Bloodline take the victory with the help of the Visionary and the Revolutionary.
Wow.
I
cannot fathom what you just said happening would make it arguably the greatest War Games ending of all time. That is absolutely
I hope you're ready.
Insane. I appreciate that for our amazing listeners. First, thank you so much for listening to us. On this Thanksgiving season, for us here in the United States, we will say thank you for your audienceship, for being part of our podcast, for being part of this ride, and we would love nothing more to continue this ride until the wheels fall off. But please let us know all of your predictions. Drop a comment before War Games, and get your predictions in. And how about this? If we get someone to comment and get all the predictions right, we will highlight you on next week's show. If you comment on YouTube, we'll see it. We'll comment your YouTube username out, or if you do it on any of the socials, we'll catch that and we'll put it out there. But give us your predictions as well. We're very interested. But above all else, thank you so much for listening to the WWP so far. Reef, do you want to close for us?
Absolutely. And as always, actually, before I do that, I want to wish all of our viewers a happy Thanksgiving and an amazing Thanksgiving if you're in the States. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you have an amazing regular day on Thursday. And for all things WWE, remember, we only trust the WWP. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.